Hi, it's Renee with Benchmark. A lot of land surveyors are using outdated equipment. They're old, they're having used equipment, they have borrowed equipment, and they're not quite sure what their options are and how to pay for new equipment. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 4 different strategies you can use to purchase equipment that you thought you couldn't afford before, so that you get the best, newest tech that you can possibly afford. And we're going to show you all the other ways that our customers use to do this. So the first method we have is savings. We have a lot of customers that pay for the equipment with their savings. And what they have to do is they have to decide, okay, if I have $25,000 in my 401k or RSP or in my tax-free savings account and I'm earning 5% on that money, so say you got $25,000 at 5%, you're earning $1,250 a year on that investment. You got to decide whether if I take this money out of savings, am I going to make more than 5%? So can I make more than this amount of money and put the money back? And what our customers tend to tell us is that they can pay for this equipment in 45 days if they have the work. If they're working only 2 days a month or 2 days a week, it takes a little bit longer. So the rule of thumb that I like to see is that equipment gets paid for in 1 year and the money goes back into the savings account, and then you start earning interest again. That's the first way. So principle number 2 is taking operating income from out of your business or your income from your salary. So let me give you an example. We have a lot of larger companies that run 3 or 4 crews, survey crews. They can absorb a new RTK system a lot easier. They can just pay for that equipment in their monthly cash flow, maybe over 1 month or 2 months. And that's easy if they have the money and the company's making money. We have other customers who do a little bit of moonlighting on the side. We had one customer named Chris. He worked on Saturdays and he was using older technology, borrowed equipment, and he was wondering whether was there a way to get new equipment in his hands. So we sat down with him and we figured out that working 1 day a week on a Saturday, how long would it take out of his current income and his current day job to pay for that? He was able to do it in less than, I think it was 6 months it took him. And then after that, because he wasn't quite ready to go on his own and start up his own business, but then if he figured he had brand new gear, that'd be one more asset that he didn't have to acquire later. So that worked out well for him. We had another customer who had a poultry business in the Caribbean, and what he wanted to do is take some of the money from his poultry business, send it to us, and then he would own the equipment and do land surveying, because he was a land surveyor at the time. He just didn't have any equipment. So he sent us $5,000 a month from his other business, and then we sent him the equipment after 4 or 5 months. And then he started to scale his small business with this new equipment that he could use in the trees, because he didn't have anything that could work in the trees. Principle number 3, using borrowed money, other people's money, and how to get survey equipment. So for borrowed money, we've had customers call up. We had one customer, it was Carla, and Carla wanted to buy equipment for her husband, and she had 4 credit cards, and she actually bought the equipment on 4 different credit cards, and that's how she financed the equipment. We had another customer who went and got a line of credit, and I think that was Dale. He went to the bank and he wanted to be able to pay off his equipment quickly, so he went to the bank and got a line of credit. I don't know the exact interest rate. We were trying to figure out how long it would take for him given the number of days he had work for the equipment, and that worked out great for him. So that was a line of credit. And then we also have a lot of customers that use the leasing route. Leasing can be really, really attractive to some land surveyors because it keeps your payments low per month. So we've had customers lease over 60 months, 48 months, 36 months, even short-term leases where they only lease for 12 months and then they did the buyout thing at the end of it after they made some money with the approach. So they had low monthly payments, $500 a month or less, and then they bought a Basin Rover package, and then after 1 year, they paid it out early with very little penalties, easy to operate. A lot of people, even if you have bad credit, we can find a way to get the equipment in your hands. We work with people to make this happen, and there's different sources of lenders. There's A, B, C, D, and E. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. The interest rates go up depending on which lending source you go with. But if you have the work, this equipment will make you money, and you can make it back real quick. So let's explore some of the leasing advantages. The first leasing advantage is that it will preserve your cash flow. So say you've got $25,000 in the bank, you don't have to spend it all on GPS equipment. You can lease long-term, have low monthly payments, and then continue to do the work, bill your customers for the work you did and get paid. Another leasing advantage is that, you can use the equipment as an asset, as collateral on a lease. One of the big leasing advantages is that it doesn't affect your credit. So a lot of people like that aspect about it. Now let's explore the final option, the short-term rental. So it might be the most expensive way to do things, but it's a cool way to do things if you're not sure about how long you're going to have work for. So a lot of people say, can I rent to own? So say you had a project and you have a project for 4 months and you just don't want to take the risk, you're not sure about the gear, you're not sure about your project, you're not sure about your client. Doing a rent to own is a great way to do things. You can rent it, so say you rent it for $4,000 a month and then you do it for 3 months. The short-term rental with the buyback option is great, so you can have the rental, a portion of the rent paid towards the purchase. It ends up costing a little bit more to do it that way, but it gives you the flexibility and there's no risk. So I'm going to tell you an interesting story. I had a large engineering company that was doing short-term rentals on several RTK kits, and their accountants, like that business was run by accountants, and what they liked about it is that they could do 100% tax write-off on the rental, and then at the very end of it they'd have a small payment to buy the equipment out. And for whatever reason they really liked that tax efficiency of doing a rent to own. But all these other options, you can write off the interest portion of the lease and on the line of credit and even on the credit cards against your small business income. So here you have it. These are the 4 ways you can buy RTK GPS equipment. But the real point I'd like to make is that if you're struggling to figure out a way to do this, don't give up. Just give us a call on the number on the screen.